as journalist and the national president of Female Journalist Network. Welcome to the show.
It is such a pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's get into it. Why do you think road safety is actually an important issue, especially where women are concerned, most importantly, the Nigerian woman?
You know, for a country that has had a lot of women maligned when it comes to opportunities in jobs, and we've been doing a lot of empowerment for women, which, if you ask me frankly, has not reflected in impact. It is very unfortunate that we'll even be having conversations around the challenges women face in mobility. So yes, it is a very important topic. I really appreciate you for even bringing it up. A lot of us journalists would probably just glide past it. So it's exciting that we're beginning to talk about the challenges women face in mobility, which translates to the several other issues they have. I mean, if you cannot move around, especially a woman who has children, you need to understand how dire this situation is. This woman has children. Very often she is supposed to be the one who caters for the children, ensuring they go to the hospital in time, ensuring they get to the schools in time. So if they are facing challenges, the society really needs to look in that direction.
The society needs to look in that direction. Now, talking about challenges, what unique challenges do women face when it comes to road safety and mobility in our cities? Now, you talked about pregnant women. Can you tell us more about some of the challenges a pregnant woman could face, and also single women?
Right. So the spotlight is on the FCT, that's Abuja, right?
Yes.
And this is a city that's trying to ensure there is sanity in our roads. So certain vehicles aren't allowed to ply on the roads. We are seeing the clamp down on the tricycle in certain areas. We are seeing the clamp down on the buses, the ones we call molue, those other buses. And unfortunately, we do not have alternatives. So first of all, drive around Abuja in the mornings and evenings. You see that there is, first of all, the inadequate transportation structures or facilities. So that is before we even get to talk about the intricacies of the buses not being women friendly or does not capture the peculiarities of a woman. We are not as strong as men. I've never been such a feminist to say what a man can do, a woman can do. No, there are certain areas we were intelligently and beautifully wired differently. So yes, before we even get to the structures of our transport system, which is most often I see women having to jump into trucks because there is nothing available for them. So when you want to come out of work, let's say you have escaped all the hurdles of going to school, getting yourself a job, here you are trying to go to work, it's not available. Now imagine if this woman is pregnant, for instance. That it's a peculiar, it's something you wouldn't get across a woman. You would expect a woman at some point to get pregnant if she wants. So imagine a woman who now is pregnant. I know the nuisance that the tricycle can sometimes become in certain areas. However, it was walkable. It was one of those solutions to the transportation problems we had. I had a conversation with one of the transport regulatory bodies in the FCT, and they told you, they are such a nuisance, they drive in express, they are not supposed to be seen in express. But I see them also clamp down on inroads to communities within the FCT as well. And these are the easiest ways you could see women have this transportation, address these mobility issues we often face.
Okay, now you just talked about limited access in a way, especially for those bad roads that some cars cannot go to. So, how does the limited access to safe and reliable transportation affect women's participation in the workforce or education?
Okay, now this has several, I would say, branches to it. It has become unsafe, really. There are certain times when you would say, I mean, as as educated as you are, would say,
True.
you know what, I don't think it's safe to go out there. There are certain jobs. You are a journalist, so sometimes you have reports that go into the night. I've had to spend the night in a hotel with a female journalist around us. We're like, we can't afford to take equipment out there in the name of trying to get these things. We really had to lodge somewhere. Our
True.
male colleagues were quick to, you know what, we can run. Naturally, they will run
True.
faster
Than women.
than women would. They are not as vulnerable. Whether feminists are listening to me and agreeing or not, they are not as vulnerable
As we
women,
are.
as we are. So yes, it has affected tremendously. There are certain road network. This now goes into the quality of roads that we sometimes have in our communities, around Nigeria. It's very unfortunate when you see these people trying to go get produce to come sell, and you see the roads in which they have to ply. I've seen a woman almost sit, having the tomato basket really huge sit on her, and I tell myself, this can't be the contemporary Nigeria of this is 21st century, for crying out loud. There should be better options for women. They have to carry, some of them have to carry really heavy loads, like huge. They're carrying it just so that they can make ends meet. Why won't we factor this in our policies? So yes, it does concern me sometimes.
Okay.
That I'm not seeing intentional policy direction towards improving our transportation infrastructure. And that's not to say that I want a dedicated transport system for women. That's almost impossible to ask for. And we never ask for we're not asking for anything special. We're just saying that the challenges the men are facing, the challenges we're facing rather in the transportation system, is worse for the women, is worse for the children, is worse for senior citizens, is worse for people living with disabilities. We have not factored these
Into consideration.
these people into consideration. And if we want to revamp the economy, I always say it, that the Nigerian woman must be economically empowered. And these are those issues. There might be subsectors, so to speak. They might be not directly affecting, when you say economic empowerment and you say the paucity of funds, it might not be that per se, but I can tell you a lot of women have beautiful ideas, and because they don't feel safe enough to get into these vehicles, they don't feel safe because there's no proper transportation system. Their husbands, in fact, will say, you know what, you will not do this one. And that's the reality of the Nigerian woman.
Such a reality for the Nigerian woman. If you're just joining us, this is your radio experience. You can count on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Today, our focus is the role of media enhancing women's road safety and mobility access in Nigeria. Now, we have been talking about the fact that women, we are not really included when transportation's rules and regulations are concerned. Now, in your own view, what can be done to make public transportation more inclusive and safer? The key word here is the safety factor. So what can be done to make it more inclusive and safe for the woman?
Okay, like I said again, we're not out to get specific, transport facilities for women. We're just saying if you just settle the transport network in our country, look at ways Nigerians can have. I mean, when you talk, it's difficult enough. I don't even know where to start the conversation. Should I have started from the removal of fuel subsidy? Because that has opened another kettle of fish. Who knew that you would have to pay exorbitantly to move around? These are women who are not even as financially capable as men. I mean, that statistics is already out there. You know, we are already struggling to move around. We have more girl children out of school at the moment. So yes, it's only natural that when you have a larger number of out of school children, it is at the moment pegged at over 20 million out of school children, 60% of whom are the girl child. So you can understand how a generation will grow up not educated. That in itself is very sad. So to take it back to the question you just asked, we really need to get transportation first of all available. It is very unsafe when you see. If you were a man and you watch your wife having to jump on a truck just to get home, would you want that woman to continue in the job? Don't forget that we are at a point where we're even trying to convince our husbands that please let us work. We are intellectually capable to handle jobs, you know, and then you watch them every day. So I think without being too feminist or sounding biased, you know, it's just get us a proper transportation network. Just get us trains. And when you do get the trains, I probably will now start talking about the railings that are necessary to make movement easier, to talk about maybe support systems within the train or buses, whatever it is, just make it available. That I am pushing for availability for now. It is when it gets available and everyone can just come out of your homes and you're sure that in a minute or two a bus applying your route would come up, or you're going to a bus station knowing you will get. That is when we can now start saying, oh, okay, now that we have available transport system or available transportation or that settled, we can now look into getting it convenient for a woman. And we must remember that as vulnerable as we are, it is worse for pregnant women.
Wow.
It is worst for pregnant women. So the mobility we are even complaining about, would a pregnant woman have to jump taxis or jump these trucks we're talking about just to get around? Would a pregnant woman be expected to stand for long hours just to get a taxi? Very often, I mean, let's get very relatable now. 4 people have to sit at the back, 2 in front, in a saloon car. I don't know how the proper word for those.
And some of them so small, actually.
Very tiny, like the
Golf.
Yeah, that's the Volkswagen Golf. You know, it's so small, and they insist that 2 people will have to sit in front and 4 at the back. And the question is, oh, for crying out loud. For crying out loud. Imagine being pregnant. It's bad enough that you're trying to have 2 square meals. Recently, I followed a trend where you're a big boy if you can afford 2 good meals in Nigeria. That's where we are right now. And then this inflation has also affected movement. The places you would have paid, say
100 naira.
So whatever happened to the 100 naira?
I don't think right now there is any movement for 100 naira.
There is none. There is, in fact, 200 naira is with a beg, like my people.
200 is the new 100.
Yes.
Actually. Now, let's talk about it from a journalistic perspective. What do you think the media can do to raise awareness about the lack of pedestrian infrastructure that most women rely on, such as sidewalks, street lighting, and the pedestrian bridges?
Right. That's a very good question. Now, when you talk about pedestrian, I did a report recently on the pedestrian bridges that we even have. Who is plying it? Unfortunately, you still see women trying to run across the highways, the expressways to get by. So apart from getting more such infrastructures, we also need awareness on it. We need awareness on ensuring that women understand that it's safer. You know, it might be faster to run if you survive, you survive. You die, you die. Like something must kill a man. No, you know. But let's increase awareness, and I like that you brought the journalistic part of this conversation. I must applaud you for bringing this conversation on. This is conversations we need to be having on a regular basis. My organization, the Female Journalist Network, prides itself in trying to at all times increase the voices of the plight of the Nigerian women, not just within the media spaces. So this is really exciting to discuss, because truthfully we do need infrastructure that makes it easier. Don't make the pedestrian bridges so steep. I don't know if sometimes you pass by you are trying to cross over and the steps are so steep, and you find yourself, oh, for crying out loud,
and then your knees hurt,
and your knees will hurt so bad.
Yeah,
you know, when it rains you have to be doubly careful.
If not, you fall.
Yeah, you would slip over.
Yeah,
you know, and those are those little things that must be factored into these solutions that they hope to bring. So it's not just about increasing the infrastructures to ensure that we have that, but also, please, when you do get it, make it relatable or good enough for the Nigerian woman to walk around. We're resilient. I know we would find a way. Anyhow it is, we will find a way eventually. But why slow us down when you can just make it better?
Why slow us down when you can just make it better? Thank you so much, Dr. Joy Asonye, for being part of the show today.
I am really honored to be here, and I must thank you for bringing up this conversation.
All right. So we had a resource person today in the person of Dr. Joy Asonye, who is a broadcast journalist and the national president of Female Journalist Network. And today the focus has been on the role of media enhancing women's road safety and mobility access in Nigeria. And this has been a Green Light Initiative radio awareness program that is proudly supported by the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety. My name is Benedicta Henshaw. Thank you so much for listening.
Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, here to stay.